website. It's nta.ng/live and all other of our social media handles displayed on the screen right now. President Muhammadu Buhari has reaffirmed Nigeria's commitment to keeping the West African sub-region peaceful, secured and politically stable. Speaking at the opening of the second ordinary session of the ECOWAS Parliament, the president promised to particularly support ECOWAS towards the restoration of democratic rule in Mali, Guinea and Burkina Faso. We'll bring you the details in the course of the bulletin. The federal government has cautioned Nigerians traveling to the United States and some countries in Europe. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed made the announcement during his remark at the 5th edition of the PMB Scorecard 2015-2023 series, which featured the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development. Let's hear the details from Anthony Forson.
The announcement by the Information and Culture Minister is coming on the heels of some Nigerian travelers to the United States and some countries in Europe that were dispossessed of their belongings.
Especially their money and international passports, stolen at an increasingly alarming rate. The most recent victims of these are travelers to the UK, most of whom were dispossessed of their passport and money at high prices, particularly in the high streets of Oxford.
The minister, however, cleared the air, saying it is not a typical travel advisory, as issuing such is a prerogative of the Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs or Nigerian embassies and high commissions.
It is not the business of the Ministry of Information and Culture to issue travel advisories. Issuing travel advisories is the prerogative of our embassies and high commissions. This is merely a piece of advice to Nigerians who may be visiting the affected parts of the world.
Taking his turn to reel out his ministry's scorecard under President Muhammadu Buhari, Minister of Agriculture Mohammed Mahmoud Abubakar said the nation's agri sector has gone through a robust diversification which has made the country self-sufficient in food production, especially rice.
We are self-sufficient in rice. We produce our rice. We are the one producer of rice in Africa, number 4 in the world. Number 1 in producer of cassava. Number 1 producer of yam. Number 2 producer of soda after America. Number 3 or number 1 in millet. We have enough to eat, and we continue to have enough to eat and the rest of the world.
Responding to why the high cost of food products, specifically, he disclosed that the present administration is working on measures that will ameliorate the impact of the recent flood on food production.
And are taking aggressive dry season farming. I just approved the first tranche to do what we call residual and moisture farming. This is to use fast-growing seeds in areas where the floodwaters have receded. The moisture there is enough to have this grow, and then the dry season itself come after the residual, and we have harnessed some of the floodwaters to be used for the dry season.
In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Avoid substandard products by patronizing products certified by Standards Organization of Nigeria. This is the clarion call by the Minister of State, Industry, Trade and Investment at the ceremony marking 50 years of standards in Nigeria. Benny Adams reports.
A cursory look at some products produced and packaged in Nigeria show their worth gracing shelves in supermarkets across the world. A feat not possible before now, says the Minister of State, Industry, Trade and Investment, Mariam Katagun.
Its activities, especially through the ManCap scheme, have contributed immensely to the increased acceptability of made in Nigeria products in the international market, which is one of the key achievements of this administration.
While exercising the powers to impose fees, fines and penalties as empowered by Some Act 2015, Farooq Salim is advocating more severe penalty for persons who trade in substandard goods.
Actually, we are working with the National Assembly to review our act so that we have higher consequences, more severe consequences for both peddling and producing substandard goods in the country. We have to raise the peddling of substandard goods to the level of treason because that's how serious the product is to the society. And at that level, we need to punish people accordingly, make it less profitable to do that.
In addition to standards formulation and elaboration, other services by SUN include testing services, accreditation, certification, and trade development, among other duties. These stakeholders say has earned the organization the reputation on ease of doing business. In Abuja, Benny Adams, NTA News.
Loss of habitat and pollution caused by activities of the coal mining companies at some communities in Kogi State have been identified as another environmental challenge that requires urgent legislative intervention. This was the view of the House Joint Committee on Solid Minerals and Road Safety at an oversight on environmental hazards related to activities of the coal mining in Kogi State. Let's get details from National Assembly correspondent Abdullahi Aminu.
For the general welfare of the entire community, there's only to write home about it.
This is Onu Ojoko of Okaba district in Ankpa, Kogi State, a neighboring town with Benue State. It is one of the communities where many companies are reported to be involved in mining activities in search of coal, which is their source of energy, leading to erosion and water pollution, among other challenges.
In terms of scholarship, they are giving to our people. Then the surface rent, they have been doing it, but the one of this year, 2022, it has not been paid to the landowners.
Then for them to add this of Okobo, we have Itajuma there. But our own coal field here is Dangote.
Early April.
The coal mining host communities, however, reported to the House members that only Dangote Coal Mines Company is providing a replantation and reclamation of soil projects in line with the Community Development Agreement.
Everybody will know what is happening, the kind of hazard our people are unnecessarily exposed to by some of these companies.
The committee visited a primary school project by Dangote Mines Company in Okboko village, promising that an adequate legislative action will be taken against other mining companies in the area that have neglected the provisions of the Community Development Agreement. Abdullahi Aminu, NTA News.
Whether or not Nigerians generally begin to see Fulani cattle rearers as businessmen and responsible Nigerians will depend a lot on the next direction that the new leadership of the Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association intends to go, following its inauguration by the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar. While it may be a new dawn for the association, many across the country will be hoping that the new change in leadership permits and mends the rather delicate relationship between cattle rearers and farmers across Nigeria. Let's hear from Abdullahi Musa Suleja.
Call it profiling or not, but there are few things that many Nigerians have unfortunately come to associate with cattle rearers. At this point, adjudicating on right or wrong, true or false, are not the main focus, rather answering these questions. Why the negative perception of cattle rearers in some quarters, and why are they presumably never too far from trouble? Persistent clashes between cattle rearers and farmers in various parts of the country have further entrenched the stereotype of Fulani cattle rearers in Nigeria. And while the colloquial saying that there is no smoke without fire may be true in some cases, the new leadership of the Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association is saying it is not so in most or all the cases.
Our members became some of the biggest victims as well as perpetrators in the challenges of insecurity in Nigeria.
For an association as old as 47 years, persistent image battering remains one of its biggest challenges.
How did we come to the situation we're in now? We find our children who are Fulanis, though not all of them are Fulanis, being in the position of banditry, kidnapping, and whatever. What happened?
I would like to extend this invitation to you so that we can see how we can chart the course for a better future in livestock rearing in Nigeria.
For the next 4 years, the Mieti Allah Cattle Breeders Association will concern itself to, among other things, ensure that its members adhere to guidelines provided in its rule book. That way, the group believes public perception will definitely begin to change as cattle rearers behave more professionally and conduct themselves even more responsibly anywhere they find themselves. Abdullahi Musa Suleja, NTA News.
Past achievements and proven track records should serve as the criteria for electing Nigeria's next president at next year's general elections, and not mere promises. This is the standpoint of plethora of voices at the All Progressives Congress South Women and Youth Rally held in support of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu and Kashim Shettima ticket in Calabar. Paul Abel reports.
The flag off of the Women and Youth Rally for the South-South Zone brought crowds converging on the UJSN Stadium Calabar to show solidarity for the Tinubu Shettima ticket, which portrays experience and a foundation for a better Nigeria.
Of February, God and Chief President will deliver APC top to bottom. We are so happy that the man who is trusted and trusted, who has done it before, is going to do it again.
Bola Tinubu and Kashim Shettima are described as detribalized and women-friendly, who will fight for their cause and create lots of employment for millions of youth.
Shettima. He's the man who has done it before and he'll do it again. He's coming to take charge of a country that he fought out to rescue.
The event was also attended by President Buhari's daughter, Zara Buhari, in Calabar. Paul Abel, NTA News.
Well, as campaigns intensified across the country, political parties have been urged going forward to take seriously the implementation of the guidelines on political campaigns and election financing issued by the Independent National Electoral Commission. Guests on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria also reiterate the need for institutions responsible for tracking illicit funds to up their game to ensure compliance across the value chains. Lydia Sampson reports.
The issuance of the election guidelines by INEC, though in compliance with the provisions of the law, Guests on Good Morning Nigeria say coming 2 months after the commencement of campaigns is rather late. They are, however, quick to acknowledge that it is better late than never. The guests express optimism that the guidelines, if adhered to, will help mitigate the use of state funds and institutions to project some parties or candidates. They decried the undue restrictions, including the denial of media coverages from opposing parties to candidates at the sub-nationals.
INEC is always up to the task, in terms of delivering on the mandate given to them. That is administering the Electoral, Act, and also the Constitution itself, the provision, the Act that established INEC itself and the electoral laws guiding the elections. The other agencies of government, are really the issues here. You talk about the police, INEC cannot prosecute, they can arrest.
What we are seeing is that institutions are complicit and they do not even understand that it's not an INEC issue alone. That when it comes to foreign funds coming in, there is a reason why we need to have those issues so that once we have questionable funds coming in, be it from terrorist organizations or even from drug lords or any other, they have from trafficking and profits from trafficking, whatever it is, that those institutions are flagging it and holding people to account to that.
The point where you are is where the state actors are themselves beneficiaries to such foreign interventions. What will the state do? That is where these institutions created by the law to assist in the preventions of such crime will come in.
They are unanimous that it is not enough for INEC to issue guidelines, but says INEC must prioritize enforcement that help in tracking of deployment of funds beyond stipulations of the guidelines. They emphasize the need for prosecution of defaulters to serve as deterrent that will strengthen compliance and democratic development. In Abuja, Lydia Samson, NTA News.
We're heading to Lagos now to join Michael to bring us another set of reports. Michael?
Thank you, Ruth. The Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, has again demonstrated its leadership role in shaping television broadcast in Africa as two of its presenters won the prestigious Nigeria Media Merit Award as the newscaster and presenter of the year. The occasion was the 30th edition of the NMMA Award in Lagos, which attracted media personalities including the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed. Fireworks of celebration affirming 30 years of consistently sustaining the real essence of journalistic practice by the Nigeria Media Merit Award. Just like previous editions, awards were presented to deserving print beat reporters, television presenters, and media organizations covering 42 categories, in which the NTA clinched 2 of the possible 5 up for grab under the television section. News Extra presenter Fatima Umar Buba got recognized for outstanding performance with award of the Television Newscaster of the Year, while Ololade Adeniji Adeli, anchor of Executive Discourse, won the Presenter of the Year award.
Winning this award, it's like the peak of everything. And you see the caliber of people winning, you know that, yes, this is meritorious.
As we are relaunching, as we are stepping out, we are getting recognized. It is a good thing. It is the right way to go.
The evening was not just dominated by NTA, as Innocent Duru from the Nation newspaper received 4 awards in different categories, including the Male Reporter of the Year.
Anybody can write, said, and I quote, but not everybody can go into investigative or features writing. That is the future of journalism.
Chairman of the Board of Trustees, Nigeria Media Merit Award, reiterated commitment towards sustaining excellence in journalism due to the sacrifices made by the media in retaining the nation's values.
This honor will serve as an incentive to members of this profession that they will never walk alone.
Your standards must never be lowered for anything. And definitely not in this age in which social media and internet has enabled the easy amplification of fake news.
With the theme projecting Lagos as a center of excellence beyond Africa, the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, believes the choice of Lagos for UNWTO and the 30th edition of the award resonates with the reality of being one of the single largest economies in Africa.
By projecting and celebrating Lagos, we are celebrating our dear country with its rich and diverse culture, world-class gastronomy and fashion, and the soaring creative industry, among others.
The Nigeria Media Merit Award is the most prestigious annual gathering where the best among members of the Fourth Estate of the Realm are celebrated. The Nigerian Power Reform Policy aimed at improving the nation's electricity generation and distribution plan will be effective through consensual grid and as against federated structure. This was the focus of the inaugural lecture delivered by Professor Yemi Oke at the University of Lagos, Abolade Salami reports.
The Electric Power Sector Reform Act of 2005 was enacted by the federal government to sanitize the system against all impeding factors. Despite reforms put in place to improve power generation and distribution, the country currently accesses less than 43% of its installed generation capacity of 7,000 megawatts. At the conclusion of his research on ways to address the lingering power supply shortfalls, a professor of law, Yemi Oke, in his 10 points proposal of the lecture titled An Answer in Search of a Question, a pioneer's prognosis of the Nigerian electricity law, says governments at state level needs to get involved more in licensing of grid generation, transmission, and distribution of electricity.
Naturally, I see us going through another round of reacquisition and refinancing for the power sector to get it right. That's the basic I can say. A lot needs to be done, including reforming the law, reviewing the law.
The need to ensure the optimization of energy demand and supply, scholars agreed, is crucial for the survival of the country and socio-economic development.
Tariffs are not arbitrarily done and correctly adjusted without peak. Peter is power consumer assistance fund. That is a kind of palliative.
The first major undoing of the power sector is that the sector operates in broad contravention of the Nigerian Constitution. i.e., electricity consumers in Nigeria have a right to transparent billing.
To unbundle the power sector for optimal performance, a suggestion to streamline the current regulatory surplus siege into 2 or 3 comprehensive bundles of regulation by the National Electricity Regulatory Commission was pointed out as necessary. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen for updates. Time for some messages, and when we return, Nationwide continues from our Sokoto Network Center, where Nana Aisha is standing by. Please stay.
I'm fascinated with the discourse on national monuments and assets and how much is being done to preserve and celebrate
the language issue. We have turned English to become like a pride value in our own cultural values.
It's not cash transfer. It's not a COVID-19.
Invasion 1897 was a deliberate
many of these people coming to the urban areas now.
These and applications, there are terms and conditions.
Of course, it is the union of 2 people, a man and a woman coming together.
My name is Nambi Odiko.
And I'm Elizabeth Omori.
This is the moment we've been waiting. It's time to rise up, do it again. Africa, do your dance now. God, do your winning dance now. So we never lose it again. We can rise up, yes, we gon' rise up, we gon' rise up. Africa rise up, yes, we gon' rise up, Africa rise up.
Everyone, welcome to Sokoto. The Otolaryngological Society of Nigeria, in collaboration with Sokoto State Government and Maria Tumbo Development Initiative, have commenced free medical outreach in Sokoto. The free medical outreach is part of events to mark this year's scientific conference by the Otolaryngological Society of Nigeria. Dalhatu Abdullahi reports.
Sokoto State Government and the Maria Tumbo Development Initiative are facilitating the free medical outreach by Otolaryngological Society of Nigeria. Members of the society from across the federation have converged on Sokoto to attend the 29th scientific conference and, by extension, assist the poor people with health challenges. The aim is to assist the indigent families grappling with health challenges related to ear, nose, and throat.
We advocate that preventable hearing should be prevented as much as possible.
As at the time of compiling this report, a good number of patients with ear, nose, and throat ailments have been operated on. They commended the state government, the society, and the wife of Sokoto State Governor Maria Waziri Tambwal for coming to their aid.
We thank God for Governor wife Maria. We thank God for her. Well, may God bless her.
The scientific conference, tagged Sokoto Caliphate 2022, is expected to feature paper presentations on various health issues in Nigeria. In Sokoto, Dalhatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Zamfara state government has recently recruited no fewer than 700 medical and health workers to address the dearth of essential personnel in public hospitals and clinics across the state. This came to the fore at an inauguration of a women and children hospital constructed by the state government in Safe local government area of the state. Jamilu Ibrahim has more.
Zamfara state government has within the past 2 years embarked on the construction of women and children clinics in 17 emirates across the state as part of efforts to bring essential healthcare services to the doorsteps of the vulnerable groups. This is the first of such clinics to be completed and equipped in Safi Emirate, and the facility has been formally inaugurated. The 10-bed capacity clinic got more than 62 million naira.
Women and children are most valuable segment of our population who require government support, not just in the area of health, but also the area of social and economic issues.
I will constantly visit this place to find out how things are going and to make sure that all the edifices put in place are in order.
Zamfara State Commissioner for Health Aliyu Abubakar Safi says the women and children clinics are in addition to the construction of primary healthcare facility in each of the 147 wards across the state and the recent massive recruitment of health personnel by the state government.
The state government recently approved the recruitment of about 700 community health extension workers and junior community health extension workers, including community midwives and community nurses under the State Primary Health Care Board.
Executive Secretary of the State Primary Healthcare Development Board, Dr. Ismail Tukur, expressed confidence that the project will go a long way in improving routine immunization and antenatal care services in the area. Similar project is built to be inaugurated at each of the other 16 emirate councils of Zamfara State in Gusau. Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
Well, that's our news package for today. Nationwide continues with Ruth in Abuja.
Thank you, Nana. It was another moment in the history of Nigeria as political parties, tribes, religion and ethnicity were all defeated towards forging common course in the Nigerian project. The event is the 10th memorial lecture in honor of the Second Republic Senate leader and Waziri of Ilorin, the late Dr. Abubakar Olushola Saraki. Timothy Yusuf reports.
A scenario of eminent Nigerians gathered to celebrate a Nigerian many described as a political colossus, Dr. Abubakar Olushola Saraki, 10 years after. From the representative of President Muhammadu Buhari, Governor Babagana Umara Zulum of Borno State, to the chairman of the Nigeria Governors Forum, Aminu Tambuwal, leading governors from both governing and opposition political parties, and then the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, and numerous National Assembly members as well as traditional rulers, led by the Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammadu Sa'ad Abubakar III, among other prominent Nigerians. The list is endless.
Oloye truly represented all the political parties and all the various diversities of this great country. He was Mr. Nigeria.
An election preceding year like this, when Nigeria seeks to elect new leaders to run the affairs of the country, the Sultan of Sokoto believes requires genuine followership towards evolving a greater nation.
So we must look at who a leader should be, what a leader should not be, what we should do as followers to ensure we have a good leader.
No wonder the Memorial Anniversary Lecture had as its theme the leadership and followership debate. Pan-Africanist and former director of Kenya Anti-Corruption Agency, Professor Patrick Lumumba, was on ground to lead the debate.
We have come here to have a little Saraki in us, so that Saraki, the good politician, can live a little in us, so that when in the month of February Nigeria will be electing its leaders, it may be said that there was a Saraki and that good men and women rose and good men and women came out to vote and the best men did. God bless you.
I want to use this opportunity to ask my fellow politicians to take away a lesson from the lecture that he has delivered with a view to moving Nigeria forward.
Dr. Abubakar Olushola Saraki was born in 1933 and died in 2012 at the age of 79, but his political philosophy and legacy is still relevant in contemporary Nigerian politics. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Considering the rising cases of the violations of children's rights across the country, the National Child's Rights Implementation Committee is also intensifying its campaigns and advocacy to ensure the protection of Nigeria's future leaders against harm and abuse. Momso Damian Detti reports, but let's advise you that viewers' discretion is advised because the pictures may be disturbing.
Just recently, the airwaves was flooded with the story of an 11-year-old underage housemaid who was tortured to death. One out of so many atrocities meted on children that the federal government is poised to stop through the Ministry of Women Affairs.
They don't go to school, these kids. They are dying, without food.
This led to the formation of a multi-sectoral National Child's Rights Implementation Committee, which has been partnering numerous key players to protect the interests of children. This visit to the Nigerian Human Rights Commission Abuja is in furtherance of their mandate.
A lot of Nigerian children are in dire circumstances. Child abuse, child sale, trafficking, exploitative labor. A lot of our children are not in school. We need to build strong alliances and collaboration to ensure that the rights of children in Nigeria are protected.
And being a vulnerable group, we have special consideration for children. We have created a department that's solely devoted to protecting the rights of children, making sure that the states also adopt similar legislation, which will now be called child rights law, making sure that children matters are mainstreamed across even other legislations. Here is the home of justice. Here is the home of human rights protection and promotion. It's the freedom house for all Nigerians.
With this synergy, Nigerians are encouraged to take advantage of the toll-free lines provided by the Human Rights Commission in case of any abuse. Mamso Damien Ati, NTA News.
The 16 days of activism are here, with emphasis on galvanizing action to end violence against women and girls around the world. This time around, members of the National Council for Women's Societies across the country are joining their voices to the global campaign to promote women's issues. Once more, let's hear from Momso Damien Deti.
The National Secretariat of the NCWS comes alive with color orange dominating the scene. Orange symbolizing a brighter future, free of violence and demonstrating solidarity in eliminating brutality in all forms. From the 36 states of the country and the FCT, these women are converged here on Abuja to join the global campaign against all forms of abuses and chart a path to better the lot of women.
According to the recent UN statistic, violence against women is deeply rooted in gender inequality and continue to be one of the most notable human rights violations. NCWS have outlined several activities to promote protection of rights of women and children and eliminating all forms of violence against women and girls. This we do through education, mobilization, and empowerment.
The color orange will continue to be on display until the 10th of December this year. Momso Damien Ati, NTA News.
The federal government has reiterated its commitment to sustain the presidential amnesty program, which has brought relative peace to the Niger Delta region. Interim administrator of the program, Major General Buhari Ndiomu, retired, announced this in Yenagoa. Doris Akumoye reports.
The Presidential Amnesty Program was established in 2009 by the federal government of Nigeria, geared towards disarmament, demobilization and reintegration of ex-agitators in the Niger Delta region to give them a sense of belonging. To actualize its mandate, the interim administrator of the program, Major General Buhari Ndiomu, is re-strategizing to improve on successes already recorded and address identified loopholes which are not healthy for the region. According to the interim administrator, upon assumption of office, he has initiated plans to renegotiate the existing contract with vendors and has been able to save over 1.5 billion naira.
General Ndiomu has also initiated internal and external audits of its database. The auditors have uncovered monumental frauds, especially in the payment of stipends and other sundry funds, where an individual is receiving stipends meant for 33 persons through fraudulent means. Hence, the proactive interim administrator has ordered for the immediate verification process of all delegates to be carried out next week. General Ndiomu, retired, has shown more commitment, patriotism, transparency, and accountability both in words and in deed in the management of the presidential amnesty program.
The amnesty boss, who was represented by the chairman, Presidential Amnesty Strategic Communication Committee, Nature Tumale, says PAP has initiated a sustainable and effective mechanism in the interest of ex-agitators to give them grants of 500 million naira and revolving loans, as well as introduction of a new program, which is to train, empower and exit against the existing model to train, employ and mentor, among other programs.
The ideas, as we can all see, is well read, and we are to give our leader the needed support. There is no delisting anywhere.
The team called on stakeholders to give the interim administrator the needed support to reposition the program to actualize the desired results. In Yenagoa, Doris Akumoye, NTA News.
The Joy Youth Council, Abuja and Northern Nigeria branch has commended President Muhammadu Buhari for the appointment of a substantive board for the Niger Delta Development Commission. In a press briefing in Abuja, the chairman, Adam Ogomugo, describes the decision by the president as a genuine demonstration to the development of the region and advised the board members not to betray the trust of the president.
The Ijoid Council IYC Abuja, so Northern Nigeria chapter, sincerely appreciate and thank His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, our father and leader, for listening to the voice of the people from the Niger Delta, for constituting the Niger Delta Development Commission Board, that we IYC Abuja wishes to inform the new management board to follow the mandate of the NDDC.
They should swing into action, make sure that we have our roads fixed again, we have the necessary palliatives that would go in to caution the effects of this ravaging flood.
The Council, Abuja and Northern Nigerian branch had earlier appealed for the constitution of the NDDC board and notes that the president's decision shows that he listens to the demands of the Niger Deltans. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has called on Nigerians to be cautious while carrying out internet transactions to avoid falling prey to internet fraud. Chairman of EFCC, Abdurrashid Bawa, gave the advice while interfacing with journalists in Port Harcourt on financial crimes reporting in the country. Robinson Derataide reports.
Internet fraud has remained a major concern to the image of Nigeria in the international community. To address the menace, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, is taking the lead and is tasking the media to help to expose internet fraudsters through undercover and investigative journalism. EFCC Chairman Abdurrashid Bawa, represented by the Zonal Commander Naneka Unwokike, and other speakers decried the delay in prosecuting financial crimes. They noted the need for regular and balanced financial reportage.
2 days ago, the government cost to submit to the Nigerian government a sum of 705 million naira, which was recovered from the former Attorney General of the Federation.
Like now, the judge who is handling a very important case, like a pet case, for example. You just that they put in first witness or second witness, all of a sudden, something happened and the judge is transferred. And the new one comes. Now, what happens? That case keeps delaying for years.
The media practice in this part of the world, it's not keeping pace with the rising, the new development in criminology. We are supposed to be able to uncover what is being covered, and we are supposed to be several miles ahead in our reports.
They've also called for a kind of synergy and partnership with the media. Of course, the media is ever ready to partner, but we also appeal for them to open their doors so we can get more access.
The agency also advised Nigerians not to rush into internet transactions without proper investigations. In Port Harcourt, Robinson Derataide, NTA News.
Well, let's take you to the report we called at the start of this bulletin on the opening of the second ordinary session of the ECOWAS Parliament. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo will bring us the details now.
The 2022 second ordinary session of the ECOWAS Parliament is convened to, amongst others, consider and adopt the 2023 Consolidated Community Budget, as well as draft reports of the standing, joint and ad hoc committees on the referrals from the ECOWAS Commission. This is in furtherance of sustained efforts at effectively and efficiently implementing the policies and objectives of the community towards strengthening representative democracy, addressing the many challenges besieging the region, as well as remaining sensitive to the needs of the people.
Honorable parliamentarians, we need to look at the coup d'etats in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Guinea, which has taken us back and must be condemned. And we need to return these member states to constitutional order.
We are seriously confronted with conflicts in the Sahel, which has become a playground for international terrorists. These have necessitated the need to build alliances and develop a multifaceted approach that addresses terrorism at the regional and global levels. It requires all hands on deck at any given time.
For President Muhammadu Buhari, sustenance of democracy and the rule of law should remain the norm in what he called the promising region
where multiple political activities are scheduled to hold next year in some member states, including Nigeria.
Let me see this opportunity to reiterate my commitment to free, fair, and transparent elections and smooth transitions. This is one legacy that I want to bequeath, not only to Nigeria, but to the region as a whole. Nigeria is ready to stand by any country in the region that is committed to organizing free and fair elections.
And as a country that strongly believes in regional integration and cooperation, the president emphasized that Nigeria will continue to support all the ECOWAS institutions domiciled within the country.
Our pledge to construct a new permanent headquarters for this parliament remains as irrevocable and strong as ever. I had hoped for a completion and formal commissioning of the project before leaving office. Let us collaborate more and remove our outdated physical and psychological boundaries and other colonially inspired differences so that our region can fully attain its full potential.
President Buhari also made a case for sustained efforts towards attaining the objectives of the ECOWAS founding fathers, which include having a West Africa that is economically integrated. Messages of goodwill were delivered by the presidents of the ECOWAS Commission, the ECOWAS Court of Justice, and the Moroccan House of Councillors, as well as the Speaker of the Pan-African Parliament.
You are on the African continent the best example of a regional economic bloc or a regional parliament. I think everybody should copy from ECOWAS. Can you continue on that path?
During the event, an award of excellence was presented by the ECOWAS Parliament to President Muhammadu Buhari for the promotion of democracy and regional integration. His Guinea-Bissau's counterpart and ECOWAS chairman, Umaru Sissoko Embalo, was also recognized for the promotion of regional peace and security. In Abuja, Adam Musambu, NTA News.
To improve activities of social welfare officers across the country and ensure poverty reduction efforts are sustained, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development has organized its first conference for directors of social welfare across the country. The theme of the conference is Poverty, Inequality and Social Development Innovations Around the World. A recent poverty index survey released by the National Bureau of Statistics shows 63% of the nation's population, representing 133 million of Nigerians, are multidimensionally poor. To address the social challenges and its impact on lives and livelihoods, social development and welfare directors are being engaged by the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development to up their ante on activities towards poverty reduction in the country. In a message, the Minister Sadia Umar Farouk emphasized on the importance of social welfare as it entails efforts towards improving the well-being of the vulnerable across the country.
Social welfare should be accessible to all and accountable to the public, directly involved in having comprehensive framework and structure in place for monitoring and evaluation, while at the same time ensuring that the wrong persons do not abuse the services. You are equally expected to work out strategies that would ensure the successful eradication of poverty in our communities.
However, the proposed new policy will take into cognizance factors that will get the buy-in of development partners and your input in the social sector in order to achieve wholesome development for the country and vulnerable Nigerians we serve and protect.
As these social welfare officers share experiences, the successful implementation of social development programs in the country will be sustained. All right, let's head to Maiduguri to join Mohammed. He's going to give us some more reports. Mohammed. Let's head to Maiduguri to join Mohammed.
Thank you, Ruth, and welcome esteemed viewers to Maiduguri and Nationwide. Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Saad Abubakar, has advocated for for Nigerians to look inwards and draw from the nation's rich intellectual and cultural heritage in the quest to addressing challenges confronting the country. The monarch gave the advice in a keynote presentation at the 2022 annual lecture, dinner, and presentation recognition award ceremony of the Barewa Old Boys Association, BOBA, held at the Government House in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital. Mohammed reports.
This is the first time Barewa Old Boys Association is holding its annual lecture, dinner and award night in the Northeast, which attracted members from all parts of the region. Keynote speaker, the Sultan of Sokoto, in a paper titled Challenges of Leadership and Governance in Nigeria, Looking Inward and Falling Back on Indigenous Resources, noted that
while no government is perfect, leaders must endeavor to keep institutions on their toes so that they achieve that purpose of government: justice, peace, and development.
The Sultan also highlighted major challenges of leadership, such as that of peace and security, accountability, trust deficit, people's welfare, and the core value, calling for the need to reflect on the dangers posed by the mentioned challenges, citing indigenous scholarly work from Sokoto and Borno as solutions. Governor Bagana Umara described the lecture as all-inclusive, saying it will add value to leadership in Nigeria, and thanked BOBA officials for choosing Borno for the event. Shehu of Borno, Abubakar ibn Umar Garba El Kanemi, stressed the long-term relationship between Sokoto Caliphate and Kanem Borno Empire, citing Sultan's friendship and support to Borno Emirate, noting the number of open in Sokoto. National President Boba Dahiru Ibrahim, Chairman Local Organizing Committee Mohamed Ibrahim Soho, and the General Alwali Kazir thanked Borno State Government for hospitality and support for the success of the exercise, describing it as the best. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Umara Zulum has inaugurated the State All Progressives Congress Campaign Council for the 2023 general elections with a call on members and other party loyalists to ensure fair and credible elections devoid of violence, even as they work for the success of the party at all levels. During the inauguration ceremony, APC leaders and stalwarts were charged on working for the success of the party. Here again is Mohamed Goni with more on that.
Borno APC Campaign Council's 100-member main committee is chaired by the state governor, Professor Babagana Umara Zulum. The inaugurated council also comprises 22 subcommittees with 887 members headed by top party stakeholders. Governor Babagana Umara assured the people of Borno of more dividends of democracy if given the mandate in the 2023 general elections, saying in his next term of office, Borno will partner with the federal government to resume oil exploration on the shores of Lake Chad.
You entrusted me with the responsibility to lead. I took this responsibility seriously and brought together a broad spectrum of people as our core team to help us drive the agenda for the peace, progress, and stability of Borno State.
The governor, who stressed gain made in the security sector, assured to scale off more efforts as he pledged to reopen some roads for night travel and use the opportunity to thank President Muhammadu Buhari for his commitment to restoration of peace to the Northeast, as well as the Nigerian armed forces and volunteers for their sacrifices. Governor Zulum said he will prioritize rural development, adding that Maiduguri-Bama Road will be completed by the end of this year, while work will commence on Bama-Banki Road, and talks are on with Dangote to start construction on Maiduguri-Gamborungala Road. He said in the second term, his administration will also see to construction of Damboa Road, actualize Biodam project, establish 3 agricultural processing centers, revive CBDA, women empowerment, establishment of School of Nursing in Goza and Mongono, and oversee scholarship for indigenous students, among others. On the alleged attack on the convoy of PDP presidential candidate in Maiduguri, Governor Zulum condemned any act capable of depriving rights of candidates and political parties from conducting electioneering campaigns, saying it is inimical to democratic norms and practices, stressing that his administration on assumption of office had banned political thuggery across the state. Borno State APC Chairman Ali Bukar Dalori said inauguration of council was to enable members participate with full recognition and pay tributes to Governor Zulum for the exemplary leadership, developmental projects, and people-oriented policies and programs. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
From Maiduguri is back to Ruth in Abuja for the rest of Nationwide.
Thank you, Mohammed. And let's take sports update.
this is my work. This is where I am focused on. So